Wow.
And so today, it's an early start. We'll continue. We have a program in the mountains, Ikrupong. We'll come back down.
So you are going back to the eastern region?
No, that one is just for a brief
one.
session this morning. And then we'll come back down to Accra. We'll be in Accra today. Tomorrow we'll be in Bato first thing in the morning.
Wow.
For a program. I think our running mate, I know, he was a part of the debate last night in Tamale.
Yes,
and
on
so
education.
His hometown is Bato.
So you're going to do
something
something
from the same constituency as Okujetu Ablakwa. So we're coming to cut Okujetu's vote over there and Mahama's vote over there. We're coming to slash over there. The electric shock is approaching. So whatever they do, the shock will also, the shock goes both ways. It doesn't only go to the ruling government or party.
It also goes to the...
But I think I heard somebody speaking before I came in saying he was on campus sometime in 2004. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So which hall were you in? Come on, a true vandal. You see, vandals are wise, they understand. And I think he heard you telling your listeners that he voted for.
Yes, he said he voted for. I think you got a bit about.
Yeah, he did really well.
Oh, I did. Yeah. That was against Fremont at the time. Yeah. Fremont was shaking. If you remember, Jake was running around.
This is 2004.
Rest in peace. Yes,
this is 2004.
Yes. They had to bring His Excellency John Ajakum Kufuor there at a point in time to rescue the current chief.
Oh, it was that
she was shaking over there.
The students were really for you.
Yes. But they came and did the So I can't say it openly. They brought their own electric shock in the form of a green dollar.
You've been at this game for a long time. Mm-hmm. This political game. So just tell me, where does the CPP stand in terms of the messaging? What's your message?
So the fact that you say I've been doing for some time and clearly still with the CPP, Convention People's Party, should tell you that I'm still with them for ideological reasons, for reasons of principle, or for reasons of the fact that I believe that actually we are the only party with the right prescriptions that can rescue this nation. And I'll give you even just so many examples, and I look forward to our conversation. But whilst listening to you chatting to a gentleman who was in here in the studio before, who I think was talking about transportation and other things, he mentioned the senior minister, and it suddenly made me remember something really quite interesting. Remember about 2 or 3 years ago, the senior minister went to Dubai. And they told him, that we had exported some $7 billion worth or whatever it is worth of gold through Dubai, and they were congratulating us. And he was nodding his head and very happy. When he came back to Ghana and did the research, we had actually only 2.3 billion on our books through Precious Minerals Marketing Corporation. 145 companies were investigated by CID. We never heard anything about it. And under that law, 80% of that money is supposed to be repatriated back to the country.
Okay.
And so that kind of seepage, that kind of loss, when you see it and it's exposed, you realize how wealthy actually we are as a nation. Oil, gold, gas, cocoa, timber, diamonds, bauxite, fertile lands, access to water resources, strong human beings. It should indicate to you that clearly something is not as we may wish it to be in terms of the opportunity we're providing to our citizens. And from the perspective of the Convention People's Party, there's a gap, and that gap is failure of the state to intervene and support in key areas, not just to provide the enabling environment. That will never work. And if for 28 years, and these are not my figures, these are from respectable institutions, we have more than 50 to 60% of our youth unemployed or underemployed. Clearly, the effects of the policies are not as we would wish them to be. Let me give you another second example to buttress my point, if you'll allow me to ramble on your program. And I hope I'm not boring your listeners. But
no, just go on. I'm trying to get
President Kufuor, another fine gentleman, if you remember when he came into power, what did he tell us? He told us that we was ushering in a golden age of business. So if that age was so golden, where is it now? What happened to it? To implement his golden age of business, what did he offer us? Something also very interesting and wise. President Special Initiatives. You remember?
PSI.
There was one on salt. There was
Cassava,
one on oil palm.
starch.
There was one on starch. Where is Ayensu Starch Factory now? Bojuasi. What happened to it? I'm not interested in denigrating my opponents or insulting, because actually, out of failure, you learn the most. And therefore, why has it not continued, or what is the problem? For me, if you analyze the data that we have as a party, the research, it is failure of state intervention and support. There is a man, I don't know whether I have it with me now, whose name is Andrew Hamilton. Actually, he's the first secretary, they call it Chief Secretary of the Treasury of the United States of America. Actually, that's called the Minister of Finance. Okay, his picture up to today is still on the $5 or $10 bill. Ask yourself, why is his picture there? Clearly, he's revered for something he did. The same way we revere our own persons who contributed to the development and the progress of this nation. He introduced something called the Infant Industries Protection Bill. They controlled the central bank. For more than 140 to 150 years, they had the highest tariffs and most protected market in the world. I'm not saying we should copy. We have now World Trade regulations and different things to confront. However, it shows you they had a strategy. They had an intention, and they were trying to create a society of opportunity and hope for their people. And so if we now are looking at the situation of Ghana and the policies and programs that we've been implementing, clearly what we're doing is not working. Clearly, if you examine the results that we wish to have expected, we're not getting them.
But the issue of a dominant role of the state in, or a more prominent role for the state in the economy and governance generally, some people think that argument has been lost by your side globally.
Well, actually,
so
let
me just finish. So, for example, if you look at Soviet Union, later became Russia, you look at all the countries that believed in that type of thing, probably with the exception of China and their state-led capitalism.
Yes.
Capitalism. The issue of state-led hasn't really worked.
So let me, and I'm really happy with your intervention, and it makes for a very interesting discussion for us to determine a way forward. You know, why do you think we have the existence of companies like Hyundai and Samsung? Do you think they just emerged on their own, or was it not state-led with state support and state protection? Why do you think we still have Toyota today? At a point in time, Toyota had only 35,000 cars. At that time, America had 3.5 million Fords. Why do you think we have Toyota today? You look at something like Singapore. When you imagine Singapore, you imagine private sector. You imagine business. Do you know
strong public sector?
that in Singapore, 90% of the land is owned by the state? Do you know in Singapore, 85% of the housing is provided by government-backed housing corporations? Why? Recently, another fine gentleman, the vice president, the outgoing vice president of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Mahmoud Baumia, was talking about affordable housing. And what he said was, actually, it is not affordable. You know what he said it is due to? Market failure. Market failure. And therefore, clearly, nobody will be able to afford housing. Just across the border in Ivory Coast, do you know there's no such thing as 1 year advance? You pay a month down, and then you pay month by month. Okay, the policies in the NPP manifesto about how they wish to deal with rent will not work and will not satisfy the housing situation we have, especially now. Urbanization has caused more people to be in our cities now than in the rural areas as it was before. State intervention. If you don't have that state, look, what is the one policy that our good friends and brothers and sisters in the NPP tout? What is it called? Free SHS. It is a socialist policy. Why is free SHS important? As far back, if you want to describe it intellectually or philosophically, there's some prime minister a long time ago in the United Kingdom who spoke of something called one nation politics. Okay, you know, people who can't afford it. Education is critical. The foundation is critical. Even other countries who have succeeded have 70-80% should I say, saturation up to the tertiary level. And that is why they even give examples of those as being reasons why they succeeded. Our tertiary level saturation is way down, okay, which is even a separate problem. So free SHS itself is only a beginning of an attempt to find a solution. That is why, even from the CPP perspective, we believe education is a right, not a privilege. And that's why for us it is free from kindergarten all the way to tertiary. You are compelled to find the money. Therefore, that state intervention, in the same way for work, is also a right, not a privilege. You cannot leave it to the vagaries of the private sector. If the private sector was working and was providing the jobs, then there would be no problem, my brother. But if 50 to 60% of your both well-qualified young persons and also not so well-qualified don't...
No, I understand that, and I'm not going to engage in a debate on market.
So you agree
versus
that
but the pushback to you is this: the Singapore example you give is a good example, but a lot of these countries, the state architecture is meritocratic, right? But here, the kind of politics you do and the people who get appointed into political office, a lot of the qualification is just show a party card. So how are you going to use this type of system to implement a state-led policy where the people who are occupying the positions are there doing political party?
I am so happy. Now you are beginning to understand the need for the electric shock.
Really?
Yes.
It's a question you're supposed to answer. I'm not talking electric shock.
By the question you have indicted those who have been leading us as people who come to serve their own self-interests, the interests of their party members, and in some cases the interests of their families and friends. You have indicted them by your question. Because factually, everybody listening to this program knows, yes, in Ghana, if you try that, it will not work because they give all of their things to their party members. You have indicted them. Hence the need for the electric shock. Hence the need for, first of all, understanding that the wasted vote is voting for the MPP or the NDC. They do not deserve that vote after 28 years. And so therefore, the creation of this meritocracy, to which you so correctly refer to, a situation where, as it is the case now, apart from even being a party member and these things you refer to, people have to pay to get jobs. You know, they may have the qualifications, they have to do connection to go and get even paid to become teachers and nurses and to get on a list if they don't have a friend at protocol. It's a shocking situation. But Bernard, another admission you have made is that actually, yes, the state intervention approach is what is necessary, but because of our failure to have this meritocracy to which you refer, we are in danger of applying it. But actually, that is the medicine that needs to be applied. You have admitted that through your question, that is the only medicine that can be applied.
So how is the CPP the vehicle to do this? So, for example, people will ask you, do you have the quote-unquote men for the job? So tell me about that.
So the first important thing, logically, as somebody thinking through that scenario, is that those who are there do not have that capacity. Because if they did have that capacity, you would return them to office or you would find a different party to bring. So logically, in your own mental reasoning, you would come to a conclusion, therefore, I'm not voting for MPP and I'm not voting for NDC. So now who am I voting for? That is the first point. And in determining that, you then recognize that it is only the Convention People's Party, with its views of a nation whereby we seek a common destiny, people who are together. That is why you will never hear CPP talk about tribal world banks. You will never hear it just talk about division or vigilantism or things that seek to divide us. When you talk about things that seek to unite us as a nation based on a peaceful approach and ideas and policies that can bring us together. And it is that all-inclusive approach and in being able to pick the best minds and the best brains and work with them to develop, and because we have to keep on continuing with this journey, Bernard. We can't say that because of difficulties and problems we give up on this journey. It is a critical journey that we have to continue as a nation, and we have to continue that journey with the same level of hope.
Let me get you right. You're saying that you are not necessarily going to say only CPP people will be given the position. That if there's somebody who's good, wherever they are, whichever party card they hold, if they are qualified, you bring them. Is that what you're saying?
Of course. I mean, even you, I think I've heard you, and actually why I was comfortable coming today, because I think I've heard you on a number of occasions recognize the importance of state intervention. Because for us it is ideological. It's about ideas, okay? And it's about the necessary prescriptions the kind of alternative direction we have to take. I'm so disappointed, but I'll send the driver. I brought you some manifestos of our party. If you look through our manifesto, the detail of our manifesto, you'll recognize that actually the policies and programs we have are entirely different and alternatives, and they're very, very serious.
But I'm going back to the question on the people, because I remember covering a group called the Patriots. CPP, I've covered CPP for many, many years.
Yes.
And in those days, there were a lot of men and women of prominence and substance who were leading that drive.
Yes.
Some of them have left politics. Some of them have joined the NDC.
Yes.
Some of them are disenchanted.
Some of them have joined the
MPP as well. So that's the question. If you're saying, yes, NDC and MPP have failed the people and you want an alternative, but politics and the way it works, you need to know that there are people with him.
Of course.
So who are your people?
So there are many people, as you say, who are there and who have been watching and listening, not from today, but as you referred to from a few years ago, who have been part of our research, part of our activities. I have one sitting beside me. He left in the studio. I think if you asked him. Well, no, I will not say that to him.
No, I mean, I don't want to mention names because it may not be fair to them, but I mean, there was Professor Kosa, Nimoy Thompson, Abu Sakara Foster, there was lots of them, and there were people of ideas, and
yes.
they used to hold programs at GJA place, and they invite us to cover it. They had a lot of ideas, and they were writing, they had publications on different things, so it was very vibrant intellectually, but I mean, Ivor, even with your recent surge, has been just recent. It's been a very dormant, maybe last 2 years.
But it is best to surge. When you're against these huge, can I call them rackets? Okay, you know the effect these two larger parties have had on the media. You know that these two larger parties have had on in the institutional infrastructure of our nation in terms of people's decision making, the depth of which it has seeped, into this.
But this is just in the last 28 years. I mean, look, Ghana is 63 years old. For the first 2 decades, your party was dominant. So you make it sound as if.
But how?
I mean, listen to the history.
So dominant that it was banned.
Yeah, fine. But the point is, for 2 decades, the CPP was the dominant political organization in this country, to the extent that the president won an election from prison. He didn't even campaign. He won his parliamentary seat whilst in prison. So NDC and MPP have been a phenomenon since only 92.
Of course.
So let's not make it seem as if the 63 years is just because of the two of them.
No, of course not. But they seek to always refer to the Fourth Republic, and they also seek to always beginning from the beginning of the Fourth Republic. Surely we have to judge them on their records. We can't judge them. Yes, we can give reasons for their difficulty to previous records of others, but we're judging them on their current records.
But is the state of the nation, if we're allocating the reason why the nation is where it is the Fourth Republic?
No, it is not.
It's not. There's many years of military things and all of that in addition to the Fourth Republic.
I would entirely agree with that. But in making our assessment today, in taking our decisions today, at the same time, if you refer to many of these historical conditions, I'm not happy with what you're pointing to, by the way.
No, go ahead.
I've already read them, but so it is. It is about percentages. It's about looking at the chart to make a determination about what degrees you can attach to what. So the important thing is that we're in a multi-party democracy. We're not in.
Okay, going back to the point you made about media. So here are Ghanaians who we are saying are not happy with NDC and MP for the past 28 years. They vote every 4 years and they tend to choose these two parties. Now your idea is that, look, we have a more dominant role for the state. We have a better track record in the first 20 years of Ghana's life. Vote for us. Are you suffering from a generational issue where a lot of the people who remember your good works are either dead or tired, and that a lot of the young people who are voting this time around cannot, they don't have a point of reference for what you are saying, and therefore the message doesn't go down?
So we have to get them to seriously, by being on programs like this and by messaging and the other activities we engage in, have to really get them to examine their circumstances. That is why I refer to, for instance, golden age of business, because there are many younger people who remember it and say, hey, it's true, golden age of business, what happened? It was never golden. Yes, I remember. President's special initiatives. What happened? Nothing happened. So that for them to conceptualize that actually maybe the hopes and plans and policies which have been given to them now, the hope, actually are the same thing. Things that which will not materialize. Because you have to be able to imagine a future in your life. You have to be able to dream and think that within your lifetime, actually, a large majority of your dreams can come true. But in Ghana now, if you're a young person and you are imagining a better future for yourself, you're trying to dream of something better, I don't think you feel as though it is possible for the system that we're operating to enable you to achieve those dreams. And we believe that we have to create an architecture, a society, a new hope that can actually achieve and make people's dreams possible. Because actually it is possible. Other countries do it. Other nations do it. And Ghana has the necessary resources and blessings. Look, let me give you a simple example of the extent of the blessings of Ghana. And it applies recently to what was passed by Parliament on the Songor Lagoon salt concern, giving over 120 square miles to one company. I'll explain to you why we would do more for indigenous Ghanaian business.
Was that a foreign company or Ghanaian?
No, it's a Ghanaian company. And I'll explain to you why we'd even do more for indigenous Ghanaians.
So that was a good thing?
At the end of it. Well, not a structure, but I'll explain why. You know, the earth that we're on is a sphere or a globe, okay, like a small ball. As we are on it, we don't realize it because of gravity, but it's spinning at 1,040 miles per hour on an axis, okay? And we're part of a solar system, and we're all spinning around the sun. So the Earth, while spinning on its axis at 1,040 miles per hour, is spinning around the sun at about 67,000 miles per hour.
So rotation and revolution.
Yes. That is why there's wind all over the surface of the Earth. It is only how high you go before you determine how much wind there is. That's why you see all wind turbines tend to be high up in the air, 120, 150 meters high. Because of this blessing I'm talking about, which is our geography, or should I say our topography, the lie of our land. We happen to have what is a trough or a valley all the way from the north to Ada, which is why you see along that route people put stones on their roofs because when the wind blows a bit out, they can blow it away. It is that slight increase in wind speed that allows the seawater to be evaporated faster that creates our salt. Togo doesn't have it, the neighboring countries don't have it. Senegal is a distant second in terms of the amount of salt it can produce. We have the capacity at that particular location to produce 2.3 million tons of salt per year. As you know, because I know you're highly educated, you know, through the iodization process of salt, you produce caustic soda. That is a key component for the all pharmaceutical products, for all plastic products, for all chlorine. I'm sure if you go and look at Ghana Water and Sewage Bill, how much they import just to keep our water clean. I mean, the entirety of what is used in water to keep it clean comes from that process. And also a critical component of the petrochemical sector. Now that is the kind of place where you need state intervention, protection, and a scientific plan. Because then what are you doing? You're creating a massive amount of what? Decent jobs, not NABCO, which is like doing national service of sorts kind of job. Decent, proper jobs, which can expand exponentially into so many other areas, whether it is dye.
So let me just get you right. You're saying that even though the idea to give our salt to one company is good, it could have been better managed?
Yes, we would have had a greater component from the state. We would have ensured the state support, which may mean the same taxes we as a nation have decided to give to Newmont or Goldfields. For instance, under MPP, when Kufuor was there, under stability provisions, certificate of emergency, 1.7% is all we get from our gold. Same thing under another fine gentleman, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That was for Goldfields, certificate of emergency, rush through palm, 1.7% we get from our gold. And so we rather feel, and that's apart from year upon year upon year of tax-free taxation, we believe those kinds of benefits should be given to our indigenous businesses to ensure that we build huge business empires here. We had a gentleman there. They decided that because maybe he was an Akan or an Ashanti or Kwawu, that he was denied at Penteng. He had vacuum salt. He was a great business person, but for years he was, dribbled and maneuvered by the state because secretly there were those who are part of the state, which is the problem you're talking about, who maybe wanted to own it themselves. They never ended up doing it. So those are, but that is a key area a key strategic area for the nation. So these are reflections of the kinds of things that.
So I get you. I'm saying, does the CPP feel as if you are your opponents? You have more than one opponent, in the sense that apart from the political parties with this new idea, globally as well, the whole neoliberal mindset and the way it sees finance, the way it sees business, and the way the system is set up, the kind of rhetoric that will come from a CPP candidate will not attract a lot of support. So that, I mean, you know, I don't know how to put this in a way that makes sense. So like if CPP takes over, there's a lot of corporate anxiety over the views around taxes, over issues of, for example, the renegotiation of our mining concessions and the way multinationals exploit African countries. And because CPP will point that out very clearly, a lot of global finance and global capital will say, no, these guys, when they come to power, they're going to destroy everything. So the kind of things that happen to places like Zimbabwe, and the kind of things that happen to countries that choose to opt out of that system, could be the result. I don't know if you get my point.
I get you, but I don't think that's the kind of approach we would take in what precisely we're talking about.
Okay.
But let me give you another additional example. You know, Ghana Telecom used to exist. Okay, now just imagine if we had been more strategic about how we would utilize what was a huge, important enterprise, and see how important it is today, even from the perspective of, let's say, capacity to be utilized to offer educational facilities through its backbone, and what we could be using it in terms of data, giving almost free data, which is even part of the things that we're talking about for in our manifesto, because that can lead to an upsurge in small business and activities and be used for so many purposes. Yet we gave it away. Now, we not gave it away, we sold it. However, Vodafone, a multinational, we have no problem with multinationals. They're very important. After all, Akuso Madam was built with foreign capital, you know. But the point is, it has to benefit the people of Ghana. Vodafone was recently in court with the government of Ghana, if you remember, claiming that for about 7 years they haven't made profit. This is a multinational. All of a sudden, recently, backdoor, you saw that the case was called out of court. Who knows what happened in a dark room somewhere behind the scenes? MTN.
But the government has been a shareholder of Vodafone for a while. What have they done with the shares?
Yes.
They have representation on the board. What have they done with that?
Indeed.
So if the company hasn't made profit, then the government is also to be blamed, because they are.
But they've been sending billions to the UK.
The percentage they have in terms of ownership entitles them to board representation. Strategy for a company is done by the board. So if Vodafone say they haven't made profit, either the government of Ghana is complicit in there, or they've also been incompetent, which is the same state you're saying should take over. I'm
so happy with the list of reasons.
No, it's my own point, based on your own.
And I'm very happy with the list of reasons why you're giving for the need for the electric shock. Yes, number 4 on the ballot. Yes. Look,
so what would you do with Vodafone, for example? So assuming what's your plan for telcos? Because we own shares in Airtel Tigo, they say they're going, right? And I think Government Ghana has bought part of it back. And there's also Vodafone.
I haven't seen what's your documentation?
But we've heard the minister has confirmed that Airtel Tigo indeed wants to disinvest. And I believe the government of Ghana has taken custody of parts of the assets.
Okay, well, certainly one thing that we want to do is get rid of the communication tax altogether, and replace it with an ad valorem tax on phone units. I believe each phone unit has a unique referencing number.
Instead of the CST. So you scrap the CST entirely?
Yes, scrap the CST entirely.
And come up with an ad valorem per chip, whatever?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And per unit, per phone unit.
Per phone unit.
Yes.
That's the plan on the revenue side. Yes. What about the efficiency management side?
But that also has separate sections. We would want to look closely at our national infrastructure, the infrastructure itself on which these telcos operate, to see how we can generate more utilization of that infrastructure for social benefits in various different sectors, as well as also greater revenue.
But some of the infrastructure has been put out by the multinationals. So there's Main One, there's Glo One, MTN has their own. So some of these, the backbone, in fact, the companies may own more backbone than even the state.
So that is why the state, and it's a critical area of strategic and national importance. And even if you look at our own 1992 constitution, it refers to the common ownership of these strategic areas. So that itself is an indictment on certain decisions that were taken to allow us to be sitting here whilst these things have been taken over by multinational corporations who only have, as you know, recourse to their shareholders, and shareholders are only interested in short-term profits, not long-term productivity or social benefits to the people concerned. But look at even MTN. MTN, I think they had a company that was managing with others, I think their towers. That company was sold, or they sold their shares in that company, and then since up to now they've still been dodging paying their capital gains tax, also in court, also fine, where they've sent their money to Mauritius. What I'm saying is that, I don't blame them. Their corporation, their eye is
2
on the
days ago,
profit.
we said telcos together had paid 3.2 billion cedis in taxes.
Look at that.
In total.
Look at that. Shocking.
As in too small.
Yes, shocking. Have you made a determination, an examination of the profits that they're making? Shocking. Look, well,
I wanted the real figure to just confirm.
Yes. Look at the real figure. So these are the critical component. You see, Bernard, we cannot continue to be doing the things the same way. If we continue to do the same way, yes, it may sound nice, but we'll continue to get the same results.
Yeah. So he says telecom sector paid over 3.2 billion cedis in taxes in 2019.
Now, what is that? 3.2 billion cedis. What is that? Is that nothing?
In comparison to what? How much?
3.2 billion calculated for me in dollars. It's about what?
Divide that by 5. So it's around.
It's a joke. It's a joke compared to what they're earning. It's a complete joke. So I mean, but it is a key sector. It's a key sector for technology, for creation, for innovation. It's a key sector to really open up a huge area of activity for people to be running their own businesses, really engaging the youth in areas where ordinarily they may feel excluded. So we would wish to open it up and make it more freely available, because at the end of the day, it will generate employment.
It's 10 minutes past 9. We're talking to Ivor Greenstreet, flag bearer of the CPP. Some questions have come in for him. He's given an electric shock to NDC MPP, and he says 4 more. Before we come to the messages, 2 quick announcements. The Registrar General will this morning, have an investor class meeting with customers of defunct fund management companies. The meeting is to discuss the government's bailout plan for investors of the various defunct fund management companies. Investors can join the virtual meeting through specially designated links to understand government's plan from the Registrar General. Click the link below. It's given on the City News website, or you can have the meeting ID 964-4224-9256. That's the meeting ID 964-4224-9256, and the passcode is 629219. The meeting comes a day after the Registrar General met with investors of 8 defunct fund management companies. So today's meeting is for investor people. It's an investor class meeting with customers of the defunct fund management companies.
All right, Black Friday is in full effect. Live awesome with incredible Black Friday deals that go beyond your imagination. You can get the Samsung Galaxy A3 Core. It was 449 Ghana cedis. Now it's 349 Ghana cedis. The Galaxy A11 was 739 cedis. Now it's only 649. The A21 is now 999 Ghana cedis, which it was 1199 cedis. So you can take advantage of these offers until the 30th of November at a participating retailer near you. Save some money on a new Samsung phone. It's electric.
Now, if you're looking for a way to support like never before or contribute to Ghana's fight against COVID-19, then Coca-Cola is partnering with you to do this. We've partnered with COVID-19 Private Sector Fund to call on you to support the cause in our COVID-19 fight. From now to June next year, every bottle of Coca-Cola, Fanta or Sprite 1.5 liter you buy will contribute 10 pesos to the Ghana COVID-19 Private Sector Fund to be used to support amazing initiatives such as anti-stigmatization campaign, construction of additional infectious disease centers, to name a few. Let your refreshment make a difference by buying any of our 1.5 liter Coca-Cola packs, and we will make the donation on your behalf towards these great initiatives. Alright, so quite a number of messages coming through, and we'll read a few of them, and then we get the candidate's response. Yes, so just
All right, yes, we're here with CPP flag bearer Ivor Greenstreet, and someone wants to know, please ask Electric Shock what his size of government or cabinet or ministers will be, and he should name the top 10. Okay, let's take another one before he responds. So sad Pakwesi Ndom is not part of this great party, but kindly ask the presidential candidate what is his relationship with the PPP founder. This is from Pascal in Kaswa. Now, Christian from Sapeman says, ask Greenstreet whether the immediate past secretary, Kabila, is playing a role in his campaign, and if not, why? Okay. Bernard, I'm beginning to be convinced by Ivor Greenstreet. I might vote for CPP, but what is his plan for our import dependency, and how feasible are his plans for the economy? It's not just about Electric Shock. Oh. All right. So, let's get a response to some of those.
Okay.
I think, Bernard, in terms of size of government, clearly there's this argument about, size and delivery. And I think clearly we would wish to have a leaner government, but what we would be more interested in doing is trying to settle the matter once and for all, so that maybe by law we could determine really what the size of government ought to be, rather than us having it, continuously, changing, from time to time. But it actually forms part of, although it's an important question, it forms part of something that we have been looking at. When I talk about this state intervention and meritocracy, important things you refer to. If you look at our manifesto, we are going to propose an entire complete reorganization of the public sector, to thoroughly reorientate it. I don't want to use the word cleanse it, but to redirect it or take a look at the whole. So much work has been done on it by successive governments. For instance, that is one area where we've had issues. We talk about how we would want to even strengthen the Auditor General. See how we could make it more independent. If you look at this whole public financial system, you notice that we have a payroll system operating, but up till now, despite a multiplicity of recommendations, we still don't have the personnel system, and therefore we still have this so-called wastage of 500 million or whatever it is, according to Center for Policy Analysis and other institutions over the years. That continuous wastage. I mean, how can we continue to have that kind of a wastage? Really, it's ludicrous. Another reason for the electric shock. But that's is an explanation of that. Our approach will be holistic. It's not just about how many ministers will you have. We need a thorough reorientation. We need a complete shift and look at things in a way that will make the entirety of the machinery more efficient and more results orientated, solution orientated, and have a clear plan and program as to how each component of it is working and delivering for the people of Ghana. In terms of my what was next? I think
Your relationship with
Kabila.
Oh, Kabila is
well,
my
and
brother.
Papi Sindom.
Kabila is my brother. Was my brother. I think he's supporting. I know he's supporting His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
But I thought he was an executive of your party. He lost the election, right?
He did lose the election, yes.
Yeah.
But politics. I enjoy being with people who have different opinions. So I'm really not one of those who's compelled to sit with people who only share my point of view or want to, agree with everything I say. In fact, I'm drawn towards people who criticize and want to engage with me in different ideas. So I respect everybody and their wishes and their choices. And with respect to Dr. Ndum, I think he's also somebody who has made a significant contribution to Ghana's development in his own private capacity as a businessman and as a public figure. And different people have journeys at different time. At a point in time, a very fine lady who unfortunately has recently lost her husband, a fine gentleman, the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, was also a member of the National Democratic Congress. And I think after a period of time, she also decided to form her own party and to engage, in different things in a different way. At a point in time, in the 2016 election, even the MPP decided they no longer wanted their own national chairman. Where is
So these things happen.
So well, exactly. So we should expect it and we should enjoy it. You see, but that is what But the people should get used to looking, or should I say, piercing the veil, looking beyond, looking deeper, looking within. And in looking within, they will see that the light that is emanating from this electric shock in this election is number 4 on the ballot.
Okay. But would you agree, though, yes, Mr. Greenstreet, that in order for people to buy into what you're selling, they need to also believe in the strength of your party? And over the years, the CPP hasn't been able to hold its center. So you had Parkway Syndrome as a presidential candidate. He left to form his own party. You're talking about Kabila now. What is so difficult
we've even
about...
forgotten about Kwame Nkrumah's daughter.
Yes, about
now
Samia
independent. So it's like,
what is
what's
it about,
happening?
Why can the center not hold? Why should people trust and believe that the CPP can grow into that third force that we're looking for beyond the electric shock that you're talking about now?
The important thing is that we don't consider ourselves to be a third force, because we consider ourselves to be a first force. So we don't even remotely consider the third force. Okay? Number one, because people should, as I indicated at the beginning, if you are wise and intelligent, which most Ghanaians are, and wherever we go, this is what we hear. This is not something that we say. They say, yeah, NDC, MPP, NDC, MPP. They see nothing but argumentation. They see nothing but offer of lack of hope or lack of progress or darkness or lack of improvement in their daily lives. If their daily lives were improving, I don't think there would be a place for Ivor Greenstreet to be able to come and attempt to sell anything to the people of Ghana. But because they look around them and they see their cost of living increasing, they see the transportation problems that the gentleman finally referred to earlier, sitting them in traffic 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the evening. So 6 hours of their day is spent traveling from Kaswa or wherever it is to get into Accra. They see the fact that there's a lack of hope for their children in terms of opportunity to get employed or a future for them. They see great difficulty in accessing healthcare and the expense of it and the quality of it. And so automatically they will be asking themselves very critical questions when they hear two larger parties praising themselves and competing over so-called infrastructure achievements. Meanwhile, in their own personal circumstances, they're not feeling it. And so therefore, that shock, although it may, and that's why I'm so happy to have been here today to explain it, because it's not just a gimmick. Yes, we have got people's attention, but the reality is, the actual simple reality is, reality, the reality of that situation is, unless they give them the electric shock, nothing will change. And that status quo will continue. Let me explain something to you. A woman, imagine a woman who has been unfortunately subjected to domestic violence by her husband. But she has remained with her husband because of the desire to keep the family unit. But it has repeated itself over a number of years. And every time it occurs, they find a way of patching it up and forgetting about it. And sometimes even the family are brought in and they beg and say, let's try and keep the unit together. 28 years. After 28 years, the day the woman decides she's leaving that house, I can assure you, Bernard, no family, no husband.
The husband will get an electric shock.
Yes.
We wish you well. Thank you, Ivor Greenstreet. Good morning to you and your team. It's number 4, CPP. Ivor Greenstreet, the CPP flag bearer. We'll take a short break. When we come back, there's more City Breakfast Show.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
From football fan to football star, at Enterprise, we take care of life's uncertainties, so you're free to make your dreams a reality. Dream big with us.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Charlie, this bro, dear, we're going to make every moment special. Whether it's
I see you, Kipo.
There's more than enough drama series to bond over. There is something to keep you.
What are we doing today, man?
Endlessly entertained. You won't miss the action between.
Nobody will be better. Ronaldo or Messi.
You know, go fit rescue you from Auntie's questions. So
You said when you marry now.
that will give you ideas. Choose DSTV this holiday season and make it your moment for only 45 Ghana cedis per month. DSTV, it's your moment.
Ago Mambapa, it's time again to further consolidate Ghana's democratic gains. Eligible voters on 7 December 2020 will vote to elect who should govern our beloved country by showing up at polling centers to participate in this democratic exercise. Remember to vote on issues and reject candidates who incite violence. As a good citizen,